This is a business tool. What you do business with is your consciousness. And as you develop your consciousness to greater and greater potential, then your potential to do business increases. And business is really done with the heart. If two people have the same thing for sale, and one is a very agreeable, friendly, outgoing, and helpful person, and the other one is, well, here it is, pal, take it or leave it. Which one are you going to do business with? You're going to do business with the one that cultures your heart. And so Transcendental Meditation cultures the heart, and that's at the heart of business.
All right, we are here today with Dr. Edward Smith. Hello, doctor. How are you today, sir?
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm doing really well. It was great to spend some time with you last week out at the Hergenrother retreat, and I got a ton from that 4 days, and man, it's really changed, and it's changed me in a short amount of time, and that's why I had asked you if you would be a guest on the show. So I really appreciate you doing this for us.
Well, I enjoyed my time with you as well.
Awesome. So just to tell everybody a little bit about you, you are a Transcendental Meditation, I don't know, what would you call yourself? A guru, a master?
A teacher.
A teacher. Love it. All right. Love it. Perfect. Because this podcast is called Path to Mastery. And I don't know if, I personally don't think we ever master anything. I think we're always on the path, right?
Yeah.
That's why I named it that, but I love it. All right. So teacher. Hey, masters. I'm just really, really excited that I get to share this information with you. I mean, it's interesting. I never thought I would be doing an episode on Transcendental Meditation, yet it's really just helped me so much in so many areas that I just really want to share it. And to me, this is giving back to all of you guys. And, that's why we're calling it, become a better salesperson with meditation, because as Edwards talked about today, it's going to create clarity for you. It's going to create awareness. And it's also going to create creativity ultimately so that you can be more present with people and become a better person and a better salesperson, my friends. And it's going to be so many other areas. Like I said, it's a tremendous episode. Listen to it. To me, this is my biggest gift that I can give to all of you. And I would encourage you to please listen to the whole thing. Also, do me a favor. Vulcan 7 is our sponsor. Check them out. They have tremendous tools, the dialer they have, the leads that you get, the physicals, the expireds, the data, the CRM built in, everything you need in one place. Go to vulcan7.com/path to mastery for some special opportunities from them. And we just started a brand new Facebook group, and it's called Path to Mastery. So just go to Facebook to the groups and search Path to Mastery and request, and I will get you right into the group. And that's where I'm sharing additional stuff, insights, bring your biggest objections, we'll handle them, and we're doing a weekly call. So again, enjoy the rest of Edwards. I just want to say I super appreciate you and you listening, and if you'd be willing to give us a review, it really, really helps tremendously with our listenerships and also being able to get amazing guests for you. So if you could give us a review on Apple, iTunes, it super helps. And again, listen, you rock, if no one else told you that today, and enjoy the rest of this episode. A little bit about you, some of your background. You are a graduate of the Virginia Military Institute with a BA in English. You're a graduate of Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine with a degree in 1964. Intern and registry in internal medicine with Johns Hopkins. Chief Rheumatology, Letterman Hospital. Let's just say you've done a lot, right? You've got a great track record. You left medicine to go into Transcendental Meditation, and I think that was 1980? Is that when you did that?
1985.
1985. Awesome. So anything else with regards to your bio that you want to share? I guess that would be my first question.
Oh, I think all the previous stuff was not very important. I think what I've been doing for the last 30 years is more important, and that's teaching Transcendental Meditation.
So why make that shift? Why did you make that transition from medicine into TM?
Well, I've been in private practice for about 5 years. I learned Transcendental Meditation. I read an article in Scientific American about how it changed the physiology, and that was in 72 and wanted to talk to people about it, but there wasn't anybody to talk to about it. Nobody knew anything about it then. And then I was at a monetary conference in 1975, and more research had been done. And the fellow I went to the conference with found a research pamphlet that talked about more of the research and talking about how you could use more of your mental potential. And that was the hook that got me in the door, because I always knew that I wasn't using all of mine. And so I thought I'd probably have to go to New York or Los Angeles to learn. And I found out 6 blocks from my house, where I was practicing medicine in Virginia, in Newport News, Virginia, there was a course being offered at a junior college. And so I started, and things started to happen. I guess the first thing that happened is that the girls in the office went to my partner and said, "What's wrong with Dr. Smith? He's not coming out here and blowing his stack 2 or 3 times a day." And I was embarrassed when I heard that, because I was not aware I was doing it, but they sure were. And when I stopped, they picked up on it right away. Well, after about 6 months, I was in the office one day and I looked at my schedule and I said, this is not such a good use of my time. So I made a little change here, a little change there. The next day, I started doing 20% more work in less time. And that was the first of 3 20% increases. And I realized I wasn't short on time. I was short on creativity. And when I used my creativity to great advantage, I had more than enough time to get everything done at work. And then that creativity began to spill out into my personal life. And I got interested in woodworking, and I now have a little woodworking business that I've had for a number of years. It brings me a great deal of pleasure. So I experienced increased creativity in work and increased creativity in my personal life. And so I started sharing this with patients and urging them to learn. I was not a teacher at that time. And over a 10-year period, I had about 200 patients in my private practice who learned, and I got to follow them for 10 years. And these people became absolutely my most favorite patients. They were the most compliant. They were the most agreeable. They were most enjoyable to meet with. At the end of that time, I said, this is doing them more good than anything I'd learned in medicine. These people would come back and tell me that they'd stopped smoking, or they'd stopped drinking, or they started eating more intelligently, more fruits and grains and vegetables in their diet, or that they were going to bed earlier and getting better rest, or that they were exercising regularly. And the interesting thing is I hadn't told them to do that. I was like any other doctor, here's your prescription, I'll see you in 3 months. And these people had figured it out themselves. There wasn't anything that I learned at Johns Hopkins that equipped me to get people to stop self-destructive habits. It's one thing to know what's wrong, but it's another thing to keep from doing what's wrong. And these people had figured it out themselves without any prompting from me. And I said, that's more powerful than any medicine that I had. So that's when I decided to quit my medical practice and go in the direction of the TM organization full time. First thing I did was to join the faculty at the university that's run by the TM movement. It's called Marshall University of Management. It's in Fairfield, Iowa. And I taught there undergraduates and graduate students, and I directed graduate students in their PhD dissertations. And I ran a clinic for faculty and staff that used the Ayurvedic medicine, which is an ancient form of natural medicine that comes from the same tradition as Transcendental Meditation does from ancient India. After 8 years there, I went out to start other schools. I was asked to start an Ayurvedic medical college in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and ran that for several years. And then finally, I ended up retiring from all things medical and just concentrating on my TM teaching and my woodworking. And about 7 years ago, I moved to Vermont to be closer to family.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And we have a listenership of mostly all salespeople. And I'm guessing by now some salespeople are like, well, why is he? Because I have normally guests like Grant Cardone and top salespeople and people like that. And the reason that you're on this episode, well, first off is because of the benefits that I've gotten from it that I want to share. And second is what you said earlier is how it helped you to start using all of your mental potential. And that's kind of what I'm starting to experience. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, my teacher, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who brought this knowledge out of India starting in 1958, told us that our mental potential is infinite. And he said by that, I mean infinite. We've been told by psychologists since the beginning of psychology that we only use 5, maybe 10% of our mental potential. Did you ever wonder what the other 95% was for? If you got only 5% of the value of a contract, you would be making some complaints. And yet we're walking around complacent that we're only using 5% of our mental potential.
I kind of struggle with that. So you're saying that we only use 5 to 10% of the mental potential?
Yes. William James said that back in the beginning of psychology in the late 1800s.
I mean, that's baffling.
Yes.
And I'm imagining, I know me, I think that I'm using 90% of it, and then I'm getting the extra 10% from doing this meditation now, right? And you're telling me I'm using 5 to 10% before.
Before long, you'll be using another 10%, and then another 10%, and then another 10%, all the way up to the infinite. Because what Transcendental Meditation is a technique to become enlightened. Maharshi said that an enlightened person doesn't make mistakes. They're so in tune with the laws of nature that those laws of nature just spontaneously guide them to do the right thing and avoid the wrong thing. And it's a process, and it takes time, but as we begin to remove the accumulated stress in our nervous system, we begin to be able to use more and more of that infinite potential. And have you already noticed some changes in yourself since you've been doing this for, 2 weeks?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I remember at the session when we did the group meditation, I couldn't turn off the notification on my Garmin watch for 2 days, and I was getting frustrated with it. And then in the meditation, it was clear. I shared that. It was like wild. It just showed me how to turn it off. And that's one example. I'm in sales as well. And meditation has helped me stay calmer with my clients, look at things from their perspective. I was having this challenge with a client, and I just could not understand why he didn't understand that he needed to take care of this smoke certificate, because if he didn't, his house wasn't going to sell. And the whole thing didn't make sense to me. But after the meditation, I had realized it was really just a pride thing that was in the way. And just the way I was talking to him is why he wasn't understanding it. So I was able to have another conversation and work things out. But that came to me in the meditation. Does that make sense?
Yes. What happened is that you had a broader awareness of the situation. And what happens is that stress builds up in the organs of perception, in the hearing, sight, so forth. And we don't get as much information from an object as we would like. As we get rid of that stress, we get better information about it. When we get better information about it, we see more of value in the object that we're perceiving. That cultures the heart. And business is really done with the heart. If two people have the same thing for sale, and one is a very agreeable, friendly, outgoing, and helpful person, and the other one is, well, here it is, pal, take it or leave it. Which one are you going to do business with? You're going to do business with the one that cultures your heart. And so TM cultures the heart, and that's at the heart of business. It really is. You can crunch numbers, you can sharpen your pencil all you want, but we end up doing business with people that we like the most. And so when we have better information about people, when we have broader understanding, like this one, you realize this is just a matter of pride for this man. And if you can work around that, then you could clinch the deal.
So, something else you mentioned earlier is creativity. And in my mind, that example is, I didn't think of it at the time, but it is creativity, right?
Yeah.
How does that work? How does it make you more creative? And the other part, how does it make you more, like you said, people that do business with people they like and they trust? How does that work?
Well, the whole thing is that the benefits that come with this practice come spontaneously. It's not like I gave you a booklet of all these good, true, wonderful things that you've probably encountered in many development courses in the past that you're supposed to keep mindful of as while you're doing your everyday activities. These benefits occur spontaneously. It occurred spontaneously how to fix your watch. You just spontaneously become a nicer person. In 2 weeks, became a nicer person to the personnel in my office. And it wasn't that I was thinking about doing that. It just happened spontaneously. And so the benefits from this are so natural. They're so easy. And it doesn't come from the level of effort or concentration or contemplation. It just happens naturally because who we are inside is incredibly good and incredibly intelligent and incredibly creative. And as we begin to unlock some of that that's been covered over by the stresses, it just naturally comes out. So we say that this is an easy and it's an effortless and it's a natural technique because really nature's doing it. You're just really expressing your own nature. And the other thing I want to point out is for business people, this is a very practical knowledge. We talk about the stream of life having two banks. One bank is material, it's seen, it's objective. The other bank is non-material, it's spiritual, it's non-material. And if we try to control a river with one bank, it doesn't work. So if we try to control the river of our stream of our life with just the material, then we find that somehow it doesn't satisfy. It's not what we had hoped it would be. And if we try to control things with just the spiritual side, well, then we don't get anything done. And we have to get things done. You have a physical nervous system. It's your physical nervous system that maintains your consciousness. And that has requirement of food and shelter and all these things. So it's both. So we need 100% of the absolute, the transcendental, the unmanifest, and 100% of the relative. Both are equally important, and life reaches its fulfillment when one is infused into the other. When this happens, business gets better. I had an opportunity to teach a man who had a construction company in Baltimore. He had about 30-some employees, built 15-story office buildings, that sort of thing. So he learned TM, and he liked it very much. And he said, I'm thinking about offering this to my employees as an employee benefit. And he did. I saw him a couple of months later, and he said his top two people quit. Said the boss had lost its marbles and that the company was going under. And he said it was a shock. He really hadn't expected that. But in retrospect, he said it was probably a blessing because those two people were not really solidly behind him. And they did not learn the TM technique, but about 15 of his other employees did. Well, that was in 2007. 2008 was not a great year for business. The three biggest construction companies in Baltimore went bankrupt. And that year, he had the best financial results of his company in the history of his company. And he's continued to do well. His company has continued to flourish, and he started two more companies. So it shifts right to the bottom line. There's a man named Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is CEO of the Bridgewater Corporation, which is the biggest hedge fund operator in the whole world and the most successful. Ray Dalio started TM over 30 years ago, and he credits TM as the basis for his success, and he offers TM as an employee benefit to his employees. So it goes right to the bottom line. I mean, again, it comes back to who are you doing business with? Are you doing business with somebody who's really likable, or are you doing business with someone who's not so likable? In fact, I know people will pay more to do business with somebody they like than to pay less to do business with somebody they don't like.
Masters, we are going to get you right back to the show. Listen, this really helps to keep this podcast going. So please, our sponsors, Vulcan7.com, for all the data you need for making phone calls, a dialer built in, a CRM built in, a calendar system. If you need data for expireds, for sale by owners, you want to pull your sphere of influence, check out Vulcan 7 for 2 weeks for only $49. Check out the service. If you love it, keep with it. Vulcan7.com/path to mastery. Listen, free books, okay? Who doesn't love a free book? If you love podcasts, you're going to love Audible. It's audio books. As a matter of fact, I would get yourself a copy of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind right now. Just go to davidsfreebook.com. Yep, they're going to ask you to sign up. But here's what you do. You sign up, and then you just set a reminder in your calendar. So if you don't want to stick with Audible, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't want to, then just cancel before your card is ever charged. Okay, so you get, again, a free audiobook from Audible, davidsfreebook.com. You rock. The short time that I've been doing this, the results have been exceptional for me. I literally can't say enough. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a super structured, disciplined person, so I have not missed a session yet. And some are easier than others, to be honest with you. I mean, I've done it in my car a few times because I've got 2 young kids running around the house. I did it in the Home Depot parking lot. I've done it in my office, but it's that important. But the interesting thing is sometimes it's easy. Sometimes I'm just sitting there. I wouldn't say easy, but sometimes I'm thinking about, like my car got towed the other day. My car got towed out of the office parking lot.
What a drag.
And yeah, I know it's a pain in the butt, right? But my car gets towed. I'm walking by the window. And this is at like 4:00. And I'm like, I don't really notice, but I notice something's not right. So I look back out and I realize my car's gone. I'm like, holy cow. And I just bought my brand new bike that day. So my bike's in the back of the car. So in my mind, I'm like, crap, I got to deal with this. I got to deal with the car. Where is it? It's at Pat's Towing. And then I said, you know what? I got to do my meditation because if I go deal with the car now, I'm not going to do my meditation. So I actually went into my office and I did my 20 minutes of meditation before I went to deal with the car. And I'll tell you, it was not an easy meditation, okay? I realized my bike was in the car in the middle of the meditation and I started thinking about that. Oh my God, if they steal my bike. But I got through it, right? And I used the mantra and it was amazing. I feel like I built a muscle in that meditation by being able to do that. But then the coolest thing, or one of the coolest things was in the meditation, it reminded me that a good friend of mine, his name is Mike Sweeney, is really good friends with the person that owns the tow company. So as soon as I got done with the meditation, I called Mike. Mike called over there. And instead of costing $185, it cost me $50 to get my car back. So how cool is that?
Yeah, well, you had another one of these cognitions that just came to you spontaneously. And those cognitions can come in meditation, but more often they come outside of meditation. It's just a testimony to your strong character that in the face of that adversity, the first thing you did was to pull back and get full use of your mental potential and then go out and deal with the problem. And in doing so, it probably had a much better outcome than if you had just reacted immediately and gone into it without thinking of all the possibilities that came to you later.
That's 100% correct. Because I went over there, I was calm. I talked to the guy. I did not raise my voice. It was, yeah. Let me ask you this. The people listening to this, what is going to be the biggest challenge that they're going to deal with when it comes to meditation? It's
doing it. It's a commitment. It's 20 minutes twice a day, the rest of your life. Things are always going to come up. Like your car getting towed or whatever. Some things are always coming up. And so the hard thing is to continue to be regular. People will get fantastic results, have all sorts of wonderful experiences, and 3 months later, they're not doing. And so the desire, the understanding of the goal of this is to become enlightened, where you can do anything and accomplish anything, then that has to carry you through these times when it seems like it's difficult to meditate. And the other thing is that, the rest of the world isn't doing this. And so they don't expect that you need some time first thing in the morning and sometime before supper in the evening to meditate. And so they schedule you. But, I'll tell you this, if we can get a man on the moon with 1968 technology, we can figure out how to sit and close our eyes 20 minutes twice a day in order to gain our full potential. It's just a matter of, one, understanding the value, secondly, of having the experience and seeing firsthand how much the value is, and that provides the motivation.
Yeah.
And the thing that keeps people regularly is that we offer lifetime follow-up. When you take the course, you get lifetime follow-up to make sure that you're meditating correctly and correct any errors that may come up or answer any questions that you might have. And I don't know anybody who gives lifetime follow-up. I was teaching in Cleveland, and I got a call from a businessman in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and he said, "Dr. Smith, you don't know me." I said, "No, I don't know anybody in Spartanburg, South Carolina." He said, "Well, I learned TM in the 70s, and I really loved it, but I got away from it. I have to come to Toledo to a business meeting, so I'm flying to Cleveland and renting a car. Could I come by your center and have you check my meditation?" I said, "Sure." He said, "I found your name in the book." So on the appointed day, he comes, we hopped out of his car, we check his meditation. Half an hour later, he was on the road to Toledo. I never saw him again in my life. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from him saying, thank you very much. The meditation was going well, and he was delighted to get back to it. But there was no charge for that. He was somebody I didn't even know who had learned TM. He was able to get his meditation checked 1,000 miles away from his home and get back to it. So that's the kind of policy that we have, that once you have learned, we offer lifetime follow-up.
That's really cool. As a matter of fact, I have my appointment tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. to have my meditation check.
Good for you. Good for you. You're right on course, David.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited for that. So we're getting these great results. Because listen, I think I told you I was doing this other meditation for years. It was called Holosync. I did it for a year. It was an hour a day. I was getting up super early to do it. And I was getting results. I wasn't getting the same results I'm getting now. I don't know, that maybe I'm just in a different place in life now too. So I don't know. I don't want to say anything that meditation doesn't work, just where I was in life. But I stopped. Why do people stop when they're getting results?
Well, I think all forms of meditation are beneficial. It's just that TM is the easiest and the most natural. The reason people forget is that life crowds it out. This happens and that happens, and then I don't have time to do it before supper tonight, and then the next time, I don't have to do it before supper again. And the next thing you know, you're only doing it once a day, and then the next thing you know, you're even skipping that. Other things just seem to be more pressing and more important. But I don't know anything that's more important than getting enlightened. I don't know that anything is more important than reaching your full potential. And if you're not realizing infinite potential, then you haven't realized your full potential. So the stakes are really very high. There's an awful lot of reasons why people get away. But what happens is if you get away from it, you can get back into it with what we call a refresher course at no charge to you. So we do everything we can from our side to keep you going. And even if you fall off the wagon, and people do fall off the wagon, then it's just a matter of picking yourself back up again, hopping back on the wagon and continuing to progress. So we do everything we can to give you all that you have.
I love it. I was just thinking about my mental potential again, and I'm thinking I may be at like 6% now.
Marcia always said, think big.
Yeah.
There's a saying in the Vedic tradition that there's no joy in smallness. Joy is in the infinite.
I love it.
So go after the brass ring. Don't settle for anything less.
Let me ask you this. I mean, what else, anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you? I mean, what questions do you typically get asked?
Well, I think we've covered all the important ones, but I just want to emphasize that this is a business tool. What you do business with is your consciousness. And as you develop your consciousness to greater and greater potential, then your potential to do business increases. But just making more money doesn't bring satisfaction. How many people you know that have more than enough money who are not satisfied?
Yeah.
There has to be this other spiritual component, this non-material component brought into the material in order to bring the material to its fulfillment. This not only affects the bottom line, but also affects your appreciation of what you have in the material, and it makes it satisfying.
You know, one of the things we talked about at the retreat was the spiritual versus the physical side. And I think I had asked the question, well, what's the percentage, like what balance? And you had said it's 100 on each side. And I don't know if this is in line with what we said about the mental potential. I'm stuck on that, obviously. But if I'm using 5% on the physical side, what percentage was I using on the mental side? 1%, 0.5%, right? I think there's so much more.
Well, there's an infinite amount on either side. You know, many athletes have found that TM gives them an advantage on the competitive playing field. Research shows that TM actually decreases your reaction time. There's the thing where if you elicit a reflex, there's a period of time where you can't elicit it again. Well, when you meditation puts you in the zone. The electroencephalogram demonstrates that, these coherent brain waves, and then you have a faster reflex recovery time. So it makes sense on the physical side as well as on the mental side or on the spiritual side. It just makes sense in every way. And we have research covering every area of life showing the tremendous benefits with continued practice. And it's that benefits that you get and start getting really right from the start that motivate people to keep doing it. But 20 minutes twice a day is a commitment. Most people say they don't have enough time. I said I didn't have enough time. After meditating, I had 20% increases in my work output and had time to pursue an interesting hobby outside of medicine. And that's what got me into woodworking.
Yeah. And for me, I just get up a little earlier, right? I actually used to get up at 4:30 to train for my Ironman race. And then, I'm not racing now. So I had been sleeping till 6:15, but now I'm getting up at 5 again. And I absolutely love it. Do my 20 minutes meditation and I got another 40 minutes to do whatever I want with. It's amazing. I love it. So
sure.
I can't say enough about the benefits. I just want to say I appreciate you, appreciate Adam and bringing this event together for us. For people that are interested, Doctor, what's the best way for them to get involved?
We have TM centers all over the country. And so the easiest thing to do is to go to a website called tm.org, and you'll be able to put in your location, and they'll refer you to the closest teacher to your area. And so then you go and hear an introductory talk. It takes about an hour and a half. If you want to pursue it further, then you can sign up to learn. That's one way. The other way is you can call a number, 1-800-LEARN-TM, LEARN-TM, 1-800-LEARN-TM. And this, again, will roll you over to the nearest teacher. But I have to warn you there that you need to be using a local telephone number. So if you have a telephone number from a different state, it'll roll you over to that state. So use a telephone number that's associated with your geographic area, and that'll connect you with a teacher. And then it's easy from there on. There also see a number of video presentations on that tm.org website so that you can begin to familiar yourself with it and see if it really is attractive to you.
Well, I feel really great. I appreciate, again, you doing this interview. I feel like we have thousands of people that download the episode every time it comes out, and hopefully everybody does it. I know some will, some won't, but for the ones that do, I can't describe you just heard the last 34 minutes, but you have to experience this for yourself. And for me, this is a gift, being able to just put this message out there in the world. So thank you for that, Doctor. And, the last question I'm going to ask you is, for everybody that listened to this, if there's one thing that they need to really walk away from this interview from, or this talk from, what would you want that to be?
That they shouldn't settle for anything less than 100% of their potential, which is infinite.
Love it, man. Hey, just want to say thank you for your time, Doctor. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, David. I just really admire your drive and your ability to get information that you find helpful to share it with everyone else. Marcy said that the basis of ideal behavior is giving. And so you're on the giving end of information. That's going to take care of the receiving end.
Thank you so much, sir. Much appreciated. Masters, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to this episode. I get it. You're ready to move on. And real quick, before you do, a couple opportunities for you. First off, I just want to, if you could give me a review, it helps tremendously for rankings, as well as helping us get better guests, everything. It's just awesome. So if you could, wherever you listen to podcasts, if you're on iTunes, that's amazing. If you're using Android, wherever you listen, be phenomenal. I just really say I appreciate that. I just launched a brand new Facebook group. It's really excited to get this thing going. The goal is every day bring inspirational stuff, videos, stuff that's not going to be accessible to everybody, certain trainings, opportunities, webinars, everything. So it's a free group, guys. Just go to Path to Mastery. Search Path to Mastery on Facebook. You'll find a group. Request access, and I will get you in right away. I promise you. And books. I talk about free books all the time. You probably already heard me talk about free books a million times, and I know everybody loves a free book. So just go to davidsfreebook.com. on Audible, right? Go to David's Free Book. Get yourself a copy of any of the authors that we've interviewed. I mean, why not get a free book? It's free. It's amazing. davidsfreebook.com. And again, I just want to say thanks. And as you know, health and nutrition has always been number one for me. Just completed my first Ironman, guys. Lake Placid, 70.3 in the books. Goal was break 7 hours. Did it 6:49. Next year, I'm breaking 6 hours, guaranteed. I'm happy. I did my first one. I cruised through. I followed my coach's plan and cruised through. And next year, I'm going all in. Anyway, the reason I'm sharing that is because I'm on Advocare products. I've been taking them for a long time. Tremendous health and nutrition products. If you're interested in learning about the products, go to livelongersmarter.com. livelongersmarter.com. You can check out the products for energy, protein, health and nutrition, vitamins, anything you need is there. My friends, thank you, and then please give us a review. You absolutely rock, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. And if you need anything from me, shoot me an email, david@davidihill.com, or if you like, call me, 774-314-1107. Thank you.